Fall gardening is one of my favorite times of year to garden. There are many fall crops that you can plant that grow very well in the cooler weather, and some that will even make it in my climate, zone 7B, through the whole winter. Hello gardening friends, this is Dave with Organic Gardening in North Carolina. It is September the 14th, so I'm getting a little bit of a late start this year, but stick around if you would like to see how I turn this into this. And there will be a subscribe link at the end of the video. Click on the B to get subscribed and click the bell so you get notified and don't miss anything. All right, let's get to it. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the garden center and get some onions and pick out some plants for my fall garden. Mostly I'm going to plant seeds, but it's always nice to have some plants too, so you have something growing immediately. Alrighty, let's get to it. Here I am at my favorite garden center, and I'm going to pick up some plants to put in my fall garden. It'd be nice to have some plants so that I'll be able to get some harvest while the seeds are just starting to grow. And these look really good. I think these guys plant their own starts here at this nursery garden center. Got some nice red lettuce. This is a tender crisp. Here's a few that I picked out for my garden. Got some Fusion Summer Crisp and some red lettuce, some broccoli. Got some the rainbow Swiss chard and some summer crisp. It's got a little bit of red leaves and green leaves. Alright, so we're going to plant those in my fall garden plot. Okay, the first thing I have to do is I have to prepare the bed. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this sunflower. It's a nice plant that's growing here. I'm going to actually try to relocate it because I hate killing something that's just starting to bloom actually. But it's just in the wrong bed at the wrong time of year. And I'm also going to get all this grass dug out. So I usually do no-till gardening, but I'm going to go ahead and put amendments into this bed. So I haven't really gardened much in this spot. So let's get to it. Okay, so there we go. I've got most of the work done now. Worked up a little bit of a sweat. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Alright, I got a bag of Daddy Pete's kicking chicken. Okay, my camera cut off on me there for a little bit, but I also put some organic blood meal and some organic fertilizer in here. Then I raked that, mixed it all together, and raked it over the top of this garden. Now I'm going to go get some vermicompost. Now I'm going to go get some vermicasting worm compost to put over here too. Alright, do that. So I've got 2 buckets of my worm castings, my vermicomposting worm castings, and a lot of it is chicken manure that was composted or chicken bedding. So it should be some awesome good stuff. If things don't grow in here, I don't know where they'll grow. So I'm going to pour out these 2 buckets. And I'm going to mix it with a bag of natural and organic mushroom compost. Of course, natural and organic doesn't really mean a whole lot if it doesn't have a USDA or OMRI listing. But the vermicomposting compost can be a little bit heavy. So I'm going to mix it with this to lighten it up. This actually has wood chips in it as well, because I guess they composted it with wood chips. Okay, so let's mix that up. Okay, now I'm going to make some hills so that it'll be a little higher, and hopefully the soil will be a little better and be better, a little deeper for my plants as they grow. One other thing I should say is I'm going to put the low growing plants, things don't get really tall, on this side, because over there is the east where the sun rises, and roughly over there is the west where it sets. So we don't want our tall plants to make shade for the smaller plants. So we're going to plant like the lettuce and arugula and spinach and things like that out here. And then as we go back, we'll get to the taller things like the Swiss chard, the kale, and the broccoli. We'll go the whole way in the back. Alright, so let me heal this up. Okay, the first thing I have to show you is some beet seeds. And I soaked these in water. The lady at the garden center said you could soak them for up to 3 or 4 hours, and that'll help them with their germinating a lot. So the beets aren't going in first because they're a little bit taller. Let me go find some other seeds. First seeds I'm going to put in is some salad bowl lettuce seeds. I don't really have a whole lot of these. They really don't need to be planted very deeply, especially since I have this soil all worked up so nice. Pretty much just scatter them across the top. Okay, I didn't have very much of that red leaf lettuce, but I found some more. This is lettuce red sails. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle that on the same row to sort of see what comes up the best. And obviously I'm going to do some thinning, or I'm going to do some just cutting and come again lettuce. Okay, let's put some radishes in this next row. Sometimes I do make a little furrow in it with my finger, just somewhere for the seeds to land. But especially when I'm growing carrots, I want them to be about 1/4 inch deep. Did I say carrots? I meant to say radishes. That's what we're doing now. We're not to the carrots yet. Radishes, I keep saying carrots. Radishes should be about 1/2 inch deep. Got some hailstone radishes that I got from Luke at My Gardener, and some German giant radishes that I got from Luke as well. Okay, so I did half the row with German giant. Now I'm going to do this hailstone white radish. Then I will go back and I'll cover over those seeds. And even pat it down a little bit. And do that with the first row here too with the lettuce. Why don't we go ahead and plant some of that, some of the carrots, since I'm thinking carrots. I got some Danvers half-long carrots that I got from my garden center locally. See how they do. Now let's do some arugula. Here's my arugula from the spring that I pulled the tops of it off, and you can hear the seeds down in the bottom. First I can just shake it like this, and then reach down there and grab a bunch of seeds. See if I got any. Well, I did get some seeds. I got a lot of seed pods too. Go ahead and do this the right way. I'll pull the stalks out. So I can see the pile of seeds in the bottom here. There we go. Got a handful of seeds. There's a lot more where that came from, let me tell you that. Because I didn't even shake them out of all these pods. I think I'm going to have to be doing a lot of thinning here. Well, I'll put these back in later. Don't want to bore you here. Alright, now let's do some kale. One of my favorite kales is dinosaur kale, because I like how it gets nice and tall and thin. It's easy to put in the juicer if you want to juice, and I like it. So this is called Dinosaur Lacinato Kale Black Magic. So let's see how this is going to go. Well, I'm about out of room in my bed, so I'm going to have to put those beets in a different bed. So you have to tune back in to see how they do. But here's some Swiss chard. I'm going to go ahead and put Swiss chard in that last row. And then we're going to plant some real plants. Real plants. We're going to plant some already started plants that I got at the nursery in the midst of what I've already done. Okay, here's the plants I got from the garden center. They are just good looking plants. I just couldn't walk by them. If you're a gardener, you're probably that way too. They do grow them there. I asked them, they grow all their own plants. We got lettuces, some Swiss chard, some broccoli, and some broccoli. Just kidding. Cauliflower is the last one. I'm just going to plant these in the rows where I already planted some seeds for lettuce. Maybe these plants will give the other ones encouragement for coming up and growing. Just loosen up the pot a little bit. I'm going to water those in real well too. You just put your fingers on the soil, squeeze the pot a little bit. Let's see, I only have 3 of these, but then I do have some others, so I think things are going to be a little tight here, but it's nice to see things already growing. It's not going to take long for these seeds to sprout though in this warm weather. Okay, we're going to water those right away to make sure they have enough water to get off to a good start. Plus the sun's starting to come out from behind the clouds. I was hoping it would be a little cloudier. So I'm going to put some buckets in front of these plants so they don't get too hot when they're first planted. Don't want them to go into ultra shock. Okay, we got some rainbow Swiss chard. Where did I put the Swiss chard? I think the Swiss chard was the whole way in the back, which is where I'm going to plant the broccoli. So I'm going to plant the Swiss chard in another bed also. Let's put the broccoli in. We're going to plant the broccoli up to where these first leaves are. That way it's going to give it some stability, because if you just plant it in the little pot, it's going to be wiggling all over the place when the wind blows. So we'll plant it down that deep, give it some stability. Okay, now I'm going to do something that I have never done before, which is I'm going to plant some black-eyed peas in between the rows, and some, let's see, also I'm going to plant some sunflowers between the rows, because when they sprout they'll be good to eat, and some buckwheat, which I haven't planted buckwheat this year, so that's a nice crop. It comes up quick, and I like the leaves and the sprouts on that too. So I'm going to do that in between the rows, just sort of for fun, to see what comes up. Here's the buckwheat that I got. Let's see, this is for sprouting really, but it's good to plant in the ground too. It gets a nice tall crop if it's early enough in the season. We'll have enough to eat here for sure. Hey, I bet you've never seen that done before. Alright, now the only thing I have left to do is I'm going to put some mulch over these beds, mostly in between the rows, because I don't want to cover over the seeds with the mulch until the plants are up. Then I can put some more wood chips, wood mulch, whatever, on. And I'm not going to put a whole lot in the valleys between my hills either, because I got a lot of seeds that are going to be growing in there too. So let me get my wood chips and I'll put some wood chips in there. Okay guys, that's it. The sun has come out. I'm gonna go ahead and water these plants in. Water the whole garden actually, the whole plot here. I was a little optimistic with how much seeds I could get planted in that little space. I usually am. So make sure you click that subscribe button, which will be over here, the little bee on the flower, so that you can keep updated on this video, and anytime I put out new content, click the bell to make sure you get it. And up here, over here, I'm going to put a playlist of my most popular videos. Up here will be a video that Google says you will like. Google, YouTube, same thing, says you will like. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. We'll see you again real soon.